Here's something that might surprise you. Neural networks aren't that complicated. If we go back to the basic, they're often much simpler than you imagine. This is intended for complete beginners in deep learning. We go from high level to the more technical details of neural network algorithm. Let's get started. Firstly, let's talk about the intuition behind neural networks, the big idea. The neural network algorithm is inspired by how our brains work. The human brain contains more than 80 billion cells called neurons, which exchange information with one another via small pulses of electricity. One neuron doesn't talk directly with all 80 billion others. Rather, they're connected into structures that perform specialized functions, and these structures are biological neural networks. Unfortunately, we still don't yet fully understand how all the different parts of our human brains work, let alone how it gains consciousness and all the complex processes that make us human. However, we do know a lot about how our brains learn. Each time you learn a new skill, like a game or dance or a mathematical concept, the connections between neurons in your brain strengthen or prune. In other words, your brain essentially evolves as you gain new abilities. Artificial neural networks are based on a similar principle. Neural networks learn from data by adjusting the strength of the connections between the artificial neurons. If you show a network more and more examples of input and output data, it gradually learns to refine these connections so that it can accurately map the inputs to the desired outputs. This is the big idea behind neural networks. Eventually, a neural network with enough data and enough neurons can translate text, recognize objects in an image, making medical diagnosis, and complete your sentences like what large language models like ChatGPT do. The potential seems limitless. Let's now dive into the nitty-gritty of neural networks. There'll be a little bit of linear algebra and calculus involved, stuff you may have learned back in high school. Don't worry too much about the math though. The key is to understand the overall intuition. So feel free to skip the math if you don't feel like delving into it. Moving on to the building blocks of neural networks, neurons. They are the basic unit of a neural network, so understanding this is really the key to understanding how neural networks work. A neuron takes input, does some math with them, and produces one output. And here's what a two-input neuron looks like. We have two inputs called x1 and x2, and here we have the output y. And here I added a subscript, pred, stands for predicted, and y predicted is a predicted output from this neuron in this case, and it is not to be confused with the true output or the actual labels that you get from the data in supervised learning. Now with this neuron, three things are happening here. First, each input is multiplied by a weight, and the weight represents the strength of the connection between this neuron and these two inputs. So we have input x1 will be multiplied with w1, and similarly x2 will be multiplied with w2. And next, all the weighted inputs are added together with a bias b. So here we will have x1 times w1 plus x2 times w2 plus b. And b is the bias term. Well, what does this bias term do? It essentially helps the neural networks fit the data more accurately next to the weights, and this is similar to the bias term in a linear regression model. And finally, this sum is passed through an activation function. The activation function is used to turn this sum into another value in an interesting way. There are many different activation functions, but a commonly used one is the sigmoid function that looks like a nice S-curve like this. This sigmoid function turns an unbounded input into an output that has a nice predictable form. You can think of it as compressing any real number into a number between 0 and 1. So the big negative numbers become 0 and the big positive numbers become 1. And this is the formula for this function. You may be asking, why do we actually need to use such complicated activation functions like this in a neural network? Well, the idea behind this is that when you use a nonlinear activation function like this, it allows the network to transform input data in much more interesting ways. And so it can learn much more complex relationships between input and the output data. Without this nonlinear transformation, a simple network like this is nothing more than a weighted sum of inputs, right? Which is pretty boring and not very useful. And in practice, we can have different activation functions in different parts of a neural network to achieve different effects. Alright, it is now quiz time. To see if you have paid attention, what is the primary purpose of a neural network in machine learning? A. To memorize specific examples in the training data. B. To approximate complex functions and make predictions based on data. C. To cluster data into similar groups without any labels. And D. To retrieve information from a database. Have you picked your answer? The correct answer is B. Just a fun fact about neural networks, there's a theorem called the Universal Approximation Theorem, and this theorem basically states that a neural network can approximate any continuous function, any arbitrary complex function that maps an input to an output, given that the network has enough neurons and given that it has appropriate activation function. Next up, what is the main purpose of an activation function in a neural network? A. To adjust the weights and biases of a network. B. To introduce nonlinearity, allowing the network to learn complex patterns. C. To calculate the loss during training. And D. To scale input values between 0 and 1 only. And the answer is B. If you got these right, congratulations! To make this more concrete for you, let's have a look at an example. Let me introduce you to my friend Tu Gardener. She loves growing different types of flowers in her garden. Tu Gardener has noticed that some flowers thrive in her garden while others don't, and she wants to use machine learning to help predict which flowers will do well. She has been keeping track of the sun exposure and water needs for the flowers in her garden, and she has also recorded whether each flower thrived or not. Here's the data she collected. Let's say we have a dataset. This is again my flower dataset. We have two inputs here, sun and water needs, and we have the outcome labels, 1 for thrived and 0 for did not thrive. Now, if we try to plug this data into our tiny little neural network that has only one neuron, we'll have x1 being 1, x2 being 0.3, and these two inputs can also be written in a vector form with a vector size 2, which contains 1 and 0.3. And this is our input vector. Suppose we also have the initial weights that has random values. Let's say we have W1 being 1 and W2 being 0.5. So that's why I visualize the connection for W1 slightly thicker than the other connection. We assume the bias term to be 0, and let's also use the sigmoid activation function for our network. Now, as we just learned before, the output for this neuron will be equal to the f, which is the sigmoid function of W1 times x1 plus W2 times x2 plus b. And so this will be equal to f of 1 times 1 plus 0.5 times 0.3 plus 0. And to calculate the sigmoid of this number, we can simply Google for the calculator for sigmoid function, or we can use a calculator. I'm quite lazy, so I just use an online calculator, and the output is 0.7595. Alright, that's it. This process of passing inputs forward to get an output is known as feed-forward. Now, a neural network is nothing more than a bunch of neurons connected together. So here's what a simple network might look like. This simple network also has two inputs, and it has a hidden layer with two neurons, which I call H1 and H2, and an output layer with one neuron. Let's also label each weight and bias in our network. As you can see in this network, the output for x1 and x2 is now h1 and h2, which again are the input for the calculation of the final output. And this relationship makes this a network. A hidden layer is basically any layer between the input layer, which is the first layer, and the output layer, which is the last layer. And there can be multiple layers in a neural network. No matter how big the network is, the basic idea stays the same. Feed the input forward through the neurons in the network to get the outputs at the end. For simplicity, we keep using this network for the rest of this lesson. Okay, now let's use this simple network with a hidden layer like this to calculate the forward pass using our flower data. We also assume all the weights look like this and the bias being 0. So what we'll have is h1 being f of w1 times x1 plus w2 times x2 plus b, and this will be equal to f of 1 times 1 plus 0.5 times 0.3 plus 0, and this again will be equal to f of 0.15, and this is again 0.7595. H2 is exactly the same as H1, right? It has exactly the same value and same weights, and the final output here of this network, y predicted, will be equal to f of W5 times H1 plus W6 times H2 plus B3, and this is f of 1 times 0.75 plus 0.5 times 0.7595 plus 0. And if we search for the sigmoid of this value, we will have the final output being 0.75760. That's it for today, and we'll come back for the next part of how to train a neural network.